All right, what's up, everybody? It's Dan. I am here with Bree today. We're going to talk a little bit about a little political, a little bit of communism. We'll go into some Kyle Rittenhouse probably, and well, Bree. All right? So we'll start off with this. We'll start off with Joe Biden.
Oh man, what about Sleepy Joe?
How do you feel? What's your ethnicity, Bree? What are you mixed with?
I'm mixed with black and white.
That's what I figured. Okay, that's what I thought at least. I know I've known Bree for a long time. Um, Go back to some old Rainbow Six Vegas one days.
Oh yeah, I miss those days.
So so how do you feel about the "you ain't black" comment if you don't vote Democrat? Pretty much, if you don't vote for Biden. But
Oh man, okay, well, it just, I think it was a Freudian slip, just kind of shows you like where their heads are at when it comes to like, what they think about black people. They think they're entitled to their vote. I mean, that's the way the Democrat Party has thought for a long time, that they're just entitled to the black vote. Like that's just the what blacks default to is Democrat. Yeah, I think it's pretty arrogant. It's pretty insulting and stupid. So
to add to that, I mean, there's been other times when they have. Well, I know like Trump has came out and before and he said, "Hey, we should have a ID required for everybody in order to vote. You should be required to have an ID." And they have actually they've made a racist statement about that too when they said, "Well, I mean, that's racist against black people. Like they don't have fucking IDs."
yeah, yeah, I don't get that. I don't understand that. I mean, that is pretty racist. So I don't get where that comment came out of the blue. So yeah.
They've said some off the wall shit for sure. Um, and they're surprised about the response they're getting because I mean there's a lot of black people that are Trump supporters now. I mean today they were not. There's a lot of black people. There's a lot of people in general that didn't even vote for Trump last term that will be this term just
Yeah,
because of the things that they've said.
yeah, I really don't see how they can be surprised. I mean, I don't know if they're genuinely just that disconnected, and arrogant, or I mean, well, I'm sure they are. Like, but they're champagne socialists, basically. A lot of them Marxist, but yeah, or maybe if they're doing it deliberately for some unknown reason, like some 4D chess, like yeah, we're gonna do terrible on purpose because it's gonna help this other agenda we got here. I mean, like, I would think it's the latter because there's no way that they think people are this freaking stupid. Well, no, I can't say that. I have met some, so I don't know. But I mean, they have when they look at the numbers and they look at like the polls and stuff. Like, there's no way they can think like, yeah, this is how we're gonna win. Like, if we just keep like saying crazy shit and racist shit and acting like we're entitled to the black vote and keep pushing all this cultural Marxism and feminism on people that yeah, this is what the people want. I mean, like when there's been like mounting evidence that people actually hate this shit. It's like it's really like a fringe group of people, right, that are like these crazy whacked out like Marxists, feminists, like insane feminazis and all this crap. That's like why all these Hollywood movies they keep coming out and making woke and stuff, and reboots they keep making woke. They bomb. They fucking bomb. People hate this shit, and they're putting it in it. Like every form of entertainment, even video games, dude, it's terrible, and people are just getting lambasted with politics and cultural Marxism left and right and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like part of me feels like they're doing it on purpose for some other plan because there's no way they can look at the numbers and people's reactions to this stuff and think like, yeah, man, they're doing great. This is a great idea.
I agree. They're definitely they've killed video games with the political bullshit that they've inserted into them. They absolutely killed Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda. They killed the entire franchise with that last game, and a lot of it was because of the political reasons. I mean, the game itself wasn't too bad, but it was just terrible at the same time.
Yeah, I hadn't played that one because I heard such terrible things about it. Even seeing the trailer for Wasteland, I don't know if you ever played Wasteland 1 or 2. I've watched my friend play them. I've never really played the 1 and 2, but like I've seen enough of the game to know that it wasn't as like super political as they made the third one. Like the trailer. Okay, so in the trailer, so in Wasteland, my understanding is that you can pick a faction, like pick factions or whatever, whatever side you want to fight for. So, but in the trailer, the narrator is like kind of talking about the obviously communist faction as if like those are the good guys. Like there's a bias in the trailer. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
Yeah, check it
Watch it.
out.
And then like yeah, and then the evil bad guy is like the statue of Ronald Reagan. I'm like, what the fuck? This shit's laser beams out of his eyes. So it's like even though there's these other factions you can choose to fight with, they prop up the communist faction, the one that's clearly communist, as if like, oh, these are the good guys. They're the they're the revolutionaries, and they're gonna save the world and stuff. And yeah, so
We can talk a little bit about that. We can start that with Black Lives Matter. I mean, people don't even realize what they're supporting when they support Black Lives Matter. They don't even, and they still don't get it. And Black Lives Matter has actually been pretty open about what they are, and and people still support it. And I think it's because they don't actually understand the terms. They don't know what fascism is. They don't know what Marxism is. They've never. They don't know what none of that is. They don't even know what the Nazis were as far as ideologies. They don't truly understand.
yeah, I have a friend of mine who believes that Antifa doesn't exist. Really, well, he's really not my friend, but he's like a acquaintance through another friend, and I'm just like, whoa, hold on, where have you been? What the fuck? So, but yeah, no, you're right. There are some people that, yeah, they have no clue what any of that stuff means, and there are some black people and other people, not just black, that have realized like they got involved with it, and they're like, whoa, hang on, there's some other shit going on here. This is
Well,
not what I signed up for.
even there's in BLM itself, there's far more white people than any other people in that group, and it's liberal, woke white people
Yeah. Yep.
that
One hundred.
think they are entitled to tell you how to feel. You should feel
Oh yeah.
this way about this word. This is hate speech. Like it's insane. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, yeah, there's been plenty of videos where like these BLM and Antifa people are like smashing windows, and then you see like a black person walk up to them like, "Hey, man, please stop! Like, please stop doing that. We gotta live here, and we gotta wake up to this shit in the morning. Like, what are you doing? This is not what we're about." They're I guess like I'm sure they support the sentiment of the movement, and then they see the people actually go out there like burning and destroying shit. And they're like, "Hey, whoa, no, that's not what we meant to do." And then like then the people, the Antifa kids, they ignore them and keep smashing the shit. Like yeah, Black Lives Matter, but fuck you, I'm gonna keep burning stuff down. Like when there's like a black person telling you like, "Hey man, can you like stop?" They're like, "No."
Yeah.
So yeah, then oh go
I
ahead.
want to be just clear on that. Like, yeah, like I don't think anybody like. Well, I mean, I'm sure there are because there are racist white people, and there are racist people that are far right. There, I mean, that exists. But I don't think anybody that's has common sense and a majority of the right. I mean, none of us are against the statement Black Lives Matter. We're against that entire organization for and everything because of what it stands for, and it doesn't stand for Black Lives Mattering. It stands for we're gonna use Black lives in order to get our agenda pushed through, which ultimately, I mean, it seems like it seems like they're honestly just pushing for a civil war of some kind at this point. Like, it really does.
Yeah, that's what the Marxists do. So, because every time there's been like a communist takeover, dictatorship set up, whatever, the movement or the revolution like always starts in the name of like the welfare of humanity. So, and what they'll normally do is pick like the lowest common denominator in society, or like whatever oppressed marginalized group, or what they see is like an oppressed marginalized group, in this case like they chose black folks in America because I guess like
A lot to do with
they
the history.
yeah, exactly, like they saw that there's still some racial tension, so they thought, yeah, we could stoke the fires of this shit right here, and then claim that we're doing all this stuff in the name of helping this poor, oppressed, marginalized group of people. That's how it's been in China, in the Soviet Union, Chile, everywhere it's been done. They always pick some fucking downtrodden group of folks and like do all this horrible shit in their name and say that, like, yeah, we're doing this for the welfare of humanity. Then and they believe that they have to flatten out the hierarchies and bring everyone else down to that lowest common denominator for equality, and then everyone gets to share equally in that miserable reality.
Very, very miserable. And then, and then, just to go into this, then they're surprised when people fight back. So you got Kyle Rittenhouse, who is 17. He had a firearm. I believe from everything I've read, it was legally owned. I think they said the legal age in his state was 16. He was 17 years old. It did not come in from out of state. It was owned. It was a friend's. It was a friend's rifle, and he actually went to the business because the business called said friend and asked them to come out and help them because they were facing problems with his car lot that had been broken into and had been smashed. He had already lost like 75% of it, and he just didn't want to lose the rest of what he had because that was the rest of his livelihood. So he called them, and they came out to defend it. For those who don't haven't read this story, I'm just going through it real quick. And then basically what had happened was they were defending it. Kyle was there to actually help people. He had surgical gloves on. I mean, there's a lot of pictures going around like, why is he wearing these gloves? But he was there to help people. That's why he didn't have no extra mags on. I don't even think the kid was wearing body armor. He had helped several people, and somehow he ended up. The police were setting up barricades, and somehow he ended up farther ahead, I think helping somebody, and he tried to get back, and he couldn't. They told him, nope, you're going that way. So he ends up at some gas station, and the rest ends up, well, is history now, but as you know, he ended up shooting the one guy. I think I think he drew a gun on him, or someone had shot towards him, and he didn't know who the hell shot. I mean, I would have done far worse. I would have shot everybody there.
So well, the shooting part, what had happened was like, so if you look at the video, like I know Infowars, they had uploaded a pretty good video about it where they go frame by frame and have everybody highlighted in brackets, like Kyle, the red shirt guy, and the guy who actually shot the gun. He's actually there in the video. So when they're in front of that store, or what was it, gas station or whatever, when they're when red shirt guy is chasing them, the guy that shot the gun was actually some dude behind them that was running in the mob. He shot his gun into the air. He didn't shoot at them. He just shot into the air. But Kyle has his back turned. He has no idea. He's like, oh, he is just like a gunshot. He's like, oh shit, there's these angry mob of people chasing him. So yeah, that was where that gunshot came from. The red shirt guy like had like a plastic bag, threw it at him, and they do a close up of the frame where you can see them running between the cars, and you can see like red shirt guy like gain ground on him, and that's basically the time where Kyle turned around and shot him. He left the frame, and then you can see him re-enter the frame as he comes around the left side of that car, and then that's when he's on his phone. He's like, oh my god, I just killed
Right. I
somebody,
think he was trying to help him
yeah.
at first.
Yeah, like he was concerned, but I'm sure he saw these angry motherfuckers
Right.
around him. Like, okay,
Right.
oh, it's time to go.
Right.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, like, okay, the whole issue with like the legality of owning the gun and all that stuff, like, or even Kyle's political ideology or the political ideology of the other folks involved, like all that stuff is irrelevant in my
Yes.
eyes because first of all, with the whole legality of like owning the rifle, I don't believe the state has any legitimate authority to dictate who should and should not own a gun. So that's why I don't care about that part. Like even
Right.
if it was illegal, I don't give a shit.
I agree.
Like
To
yeah, so yeah, so it like all that matters is he was attacked by this fucking pedophile meth head dude, and he shot the guy in self defense. That's open and shut. And then his Antifa buddies they were pissed about it. They chased after Kyle. Then three more people attempted to attack him, and they got injured too, and one of them died. So it's like it's just open and shut, self defense. They attacked him because he defended himself against one of their buddies, and they're like, okay, we got to get this guy.
yeah. Moral of the story is don't chase a guy, especially when he has a gun.
Yeah, basically. And then
You're
one
gonna
of the
chase
other
a
dudes.
guy that has a rifle, and you're gonna chase him with a skateboard.
Exactly, or like
Fuck ass.
or a pistol or whatever. Like, dude tried to, or what, drew a pistol on him.
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, I mean, Kyle's not a trained officer. He's not any of these things that you're putting out that officers should act with that. I mean, and then you're asking to defund the police. Well, I mean, what do you think's going to happen? There's going to be communities of people that are going to still police when policing needs happened, and he's not trained. He's not trained in that area. I mean, he could be, but he don't need to be. He just needs to own his gun. So, you're chasing a kid, a 17-year-old kid. Um, he has his rifle. He heard shots in the air. He feels and threatened for his life, which is why I said I would have done far more, because I mean, if you're chasing me and I hear shots in the air, I'm putting more than one rifle bullet through you. So I know I'm hitting other people. So I mean, that's self defense right there. And then to continue to chase after you just seen him, he's flipping out. I mean, he just killed a guy. I mean, he made a call. He's like, holy shit, I just killed this guy. And then you're going to chase him. That is the dumbest thing that you could do, because all he wants to do at that point is turn himself in. For starters, he wants to be safe, and he wants to turn himself in. So what are you guys trying to, why are you chasing him for? You're chasing him to fucking harm him. So now he's even more entitled to his self-defense, because he's going to put bullets in you. Then he's going to blow the other guy, his arm off, or fucking his bicep off. That guy's lucky he's alive, calling for a medic. And then he tries to turn himself into the police, and the police say no. They said no. Like,
Yeah,
how
just
is
go
that
home,
gonna
kid.
happen? Right, like that to me is the goofiest part of, well, it's not the goofiest is chasing the kid that had the rifle with skateboard, but that's pretty goofy too. Like, he just told you, like, he literally just told you, hey, I just shot these guys. Like, yeah, he did it in self-defense, but you guys should have still grabbed him. Like, for his safety and for anybody else's, he should have been grabbed and put in the car. Like, that's goofy. Like, that, talking about officers not doing their jobs, there's an instance where they did not.
Yeah, I guess in the sense that they had no clue what happened, but
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah,
self-defense ultimately, but I mean, he just told them he did that. Even if it was just for his safety, they should have grabbed him, because he's out on the street. There's roadblocks everywhere. Where the hell is he going to go? He may have to shoot more people. Like, because you didn't pick him up, he may have to shoot more people now.
yeah. No, I can understand for safety, but I think, I don't know if he went directly home. I'm pretty sure he did, but yeah, as far as I know, he did. But yeah, that whole situation is retarded. But like, especially like these commies and socialists, like they're gonna be dishonest about the situation. They don't look at things objectively, and even if they see the evidence right in front of their face, they're gonna lie about it, or just pretend they don't see what's really there. Because when I argue with them and show them um like cut and dry, like video evidence of like these people doing like dumb stuff, like destroying property, burning shit down. I even showed like one lefty, like, this one video where they set the bottom of an apartment complex on fire. Like, it was like a dental office down there, but above it there was apartment complexes, and there were children up there. Like, granted, like, thankfully the fire didn't spread up there, but they were just like, oh well, nothing, it's okay, because it didn't even spread, they put the fire out. It's like, you dumb piece of crap. Like, the fact of the matter is they endangered the lives of the people in those apartments. It could have gotten worse.
Their
Like,
intention
just
was for it to get worse.
yes,
It
that's
just
the
got
intention.
lucky.
Like, see, they just overlook all of that. The intention was to destroy the fucking place, and they're just like, well, it didn't happen, so that makes it okay. It's still relatively peaceful. It's like, oh my god, you just yeet yourself off a fucking mountain, dude. Like, like, so they're deliberately disingenuous. They pretend they don't see it, or like some of them see it and they just say like, well, it's just collateral damage, or oh, the situation is very desperate, so this is necessary to get the attention of XYZ people, whoever the fuck they're trying to get the attention of. I don't know. Like, there's like, so those are like some of the responses I've heard, but neither one is good. Like, these are just terrible subhuman people. Like, they're not going to be honest about what the situation is, even if you shove the facts down their throat, or they'll just do mental gymnastics to argue in favor of it.
There's a lot of that. It's a lot of mental gymnastics. You're 100% correct. That's a lot of it.
Yeah, some of the arguments are like, well, we're fighting the evil capitalists, and it's like, bro, okay, well, like first of all, like Wendy's or Home Depot, AutoZone or Sally's nail salon didn't do anything to you. Like I don't see how like well first of all, like they think that capitalism is like like slave labor or something stupid like that. So but I look at capitalism as like just free markets, like free markets without the intervention of government. But they think it's something else. So they think that they're justified in burning these buildings down because like labor is extortion and it's literal slavery and stuff like that. So that's one side of it. And then another thing is like the desperation argument. They think that them also burning down these businesses will, I guess, get the attention of like these politicians or people in the communities and um, make them defund the police. Like, so that part really doesn't make any sense to me because it's like, okay, well, if you are upset with a department of government that is not offering you quality services, why in the world would you go and assault innocent people? Like Joe's Pizza Shop didn't do anything to you. They weren't even involved in the situation. So that makes no sense. And some of the businesses that they burned down are black owned. And some of them don't even have insurance. That's another stupid argument they have. Like, oh, well, they have insurance, so they'll just rebuild it for free. Apparently, that seems to be what they think. That's not how insurance
Everything's
works. Like,
free.
yeah, like insurance doesn't work that way. Like they won't. Some companies won't even cover all the damages, or they'll say like, um, oh well, that's water damage, so you don't have that in your policy. So yeah, sorry, we can't pay for that half of the store, or something like
Do
that. So
not
it's
cover Molotov cocktails and
yeah, exactly. This was an act of God, so we don't cover that. They'll because insurance companies are scumbags, and
no,
I
they're
guess
eating
these
us alive because now they can add policy. Like, oh, are you worried about riots in your city? Well, for an additional
yes.
X amount of money, you can have that coverage per month as well. And I bet you that guy's a Democrat. He's like, yeah, burn that shit down, and I'm gonna fucking line my pockets. I bet
Yeah,
it's probably Bernie's fucking grandson.
but yeah. Oh, yeah. So just to circle back to the whole Black Lives Matter thing. So like the whole message about fighting racism. Okay, well, that's another thing I have an issue with too, because you're gonna be fighting ghosts for a long time,
Right.
and that's never gonna end. Like the war on terror, you can't fight terror; it's an abstraction. Racism is just thoughts. You can't destroy ideas. You can't destroy thoughts. You're gonna be fighting for the rest of your life. So,
We have. I was about to say we've had wars forever off of thoughts. Like we're fighting religious wars, for, since the beginning of mankind. That's fighting an idea. That is the dumbest thing you could possibly ever fight over. Is an idea.
yeah,
To try
exactly.
to end said idea. Like I'm going to silence this idea forever. No, you're not. You're going to strengthen it. I mean, honestly, like if you're trying to fight racism and you're actually actively creating racists, like I see it every day on social media. I'm like, even on my own, I'm like, I have to stop people sometimes because they're like, oh, black people, this, and this. I'm like, no, guys, it's not black people. No, it's not. There's no race attached to it. It is liberals in general. It is leftists in general. It's Antifa. Like yes, Black Lives Matter, but that a majority of the Black Lives Matter people are not even black guys or black women. They're whites. So so I mean like use your labels properly. Like literally like just use leftists. Don't create racism. Don't stoke that fire. There's no reason for it. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, yeah, nah, I agree, dude. But yeah, like, yeah, you can't stop racist people from being racist. I mean, you might be able to persuade them, or they might be persuaded by events that happen in their life or interactions with other people, but it's not gonna happen by force, you know. And like, I don't know. If someone doesn't like me, I really don't even try to go out of my way to persuade
I'd
them.
rather you be open about it.
Exactly. I was just about to get to that. So like, okay, yeah. So now this is a hot take. I know a lot of people like would be like, "Whoa, hold on, that's wild." But no, like I don't agree with state mandated segregation or state mandated integration. Like people should be able to voluntarily associate how they please. People should be able to discriminate voluntarily. Like it's no different from how you choose your circle of friends. Like I know that's a really hot take, but it's like, okay, like if I'm okay, like stores aren't allowed to like discriminate or whatever. Well, when they have laws for like forced integration or whatever, it basically gave like really like actual racists an opportunity to hide behind the law. Like, so whereas before they might have had a bright neon sign outside that said no N words allowed. I would I would rather know who the racists are. Like if I'm
Yeah,
going to the gas station and they have that sign out there, I'd rather see that and be like, oh, okay, well, let's go across the street because I'm not giving that guy my money.
I would actually. I mean, yeah, like that's fine if they want to do that. They would. You know how fast they would be out of business because
Exactly.
people are not
Yeah.
racist. I would never go to that gas station, and neither would anybody else. And if someone did go to that gas station, you'd know who went to that gas station. You'd be looking at him like, "What the fuck are you doing at that gas station?"
Yeah. No,
And
yeah,
there's
like
so many social media apps and so many quick snap pictures. Like, hey, that guy was at that gas station. He's gonna be fucking ridiculed as well. He might lose his job with cancel culture. But like, still, like, I mean, there's so if you want to put out those signs, no whites, no blacks allowed, no Asians allowed, go for it. Watch how fast you lose your business.
exactly, and that's like the dumbest mentality. Like, you know, who in their right mind thinks like, how dare you racist not accept my money? I'm so mad you won't take my hard-earned money.
Why would
How
you even want to
dare
give
you?
that guy money? Like, you shouldn't even want to.
Exactly. So,
And you wouldn't find there wouldn't be any of those. You may find a shop in Alabama, like, or something crazy down south still in the sticks because some asshole thinks that, he goes to his little Klan rally every fucking weekend or whatever the hell it is. Like, you may find that fucking there, but and you would also find the reverse of that. You would find black people with no whites as well. You would find some of that in the inner city, I'm sure. And the weird thing about that one is that one wouldn't be ridiculed as heavily. It would not be. Because I personally wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't even take pictures of the people fucking that went there and shopped and be like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. I'm not going there, obviously, but
yeah,
whatever.
right.
Fuck it.
Yeah, like it's like I would never financially support racists, but with the way the law is now, it's like I don't know who they are. They're not allowed to advertise themselves, so I might be shopping at a racist establishment, and not even know it. So, but yeah, like it's really silly, like because the way I look at crime and what actually is a crime is if there's property damage, fraud or damage to another individual. Like so, basically, like if there's no victim, there's no crime. If someone says, "I don't want you to shop at my store because you're yellow or orange or whatever," that's not a crime. That's not. There's nothing violent happened. There was no act of aggression. You just said like, "Hey, can you please leave my private establishment? I don't want to serve you." And no one is obligated to offer their labor or services to an individual for arbitrary reasons. Like if they don't want to associate with you, that's their right. you know so, but I know people will look at me like if I said stuff like that to a lot of my friends or family, they'd be like, oh my god, you sound so racist. It's like, no, I'm just
Like,
like basing my views on what's objectively true. That's not a crime. No one was assaulted. Nobody's rights were violated. No one is obligated to serve you for any reason.
right.
They could not like your hair color or something and tell you, hey, you gotta get out. You have orange hair. No orange haired people. Like, it would be stupid. It's silly. It would hurt their
Definitely
business.
today. All over
Yeah.
social media, you do that. You're done today if you did that. Like that's an interesting take that you took on it. I actually agree for the most part. I see. As far as when it was implemented, I do understand because maybe black people couldn't go to this store or that store or that store, and they had literally have to go like miles and miles and miles and miles away, and that's going to cost you more money or whatever. Um, so I can see the implementation of it, but I definitely agree with you that today I don't think it's needed. There's so many advertisement or avenues that you can go to put the word out that hey, this just fucking happened, and these people just said that you're not allowed in here because you're black, you're shut down so fast. You'd be gone.
Yeah,
You'd be toast.
yeah. There was actually, even back then, there was actually a boxcar company. I don't remember the case because I had read about this probably like 4 years ago. That actually, refused to segregate because they would have to buy separate box cars for African Americans and have separate box cars for whites, and they didn't do that because they were like, well, it's going to cost us more money to buy these extra cars just to separate people. We don't want to do that. And the state, uh, tried to get them shut down or fined because of it. They were like, hey, no, you have to segregate. So it's like that company didn't want to,
Mm-hmm.
because from an economic standpoint, because that's also another thing is like, they're like, um, economically, it didn't benefit them to do that, to try to separate people. They had to spend money on more resources to do that, and like, it, like money talks, right? So if you're the CEO of this company, you're just looking at those dollar signs in your account, like what's going to be the most profitable way of doing business for the company. And if segregating people isn't that, then they're not going to do that.
Right.
So that was that. I'll have to find that article again, and I'll send it to you. But yeah, that was another interesting story where, like, because there's a lot of reasons why a lot of businesses would not do that, because this was something mandated by the government. This isn't something that every private business wanted to just do. It was mandated by government. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
I mean,
that's why I really don't agree with like government interference and
yeah,
like
I
markets and
agree
stuff.
with you. Um, I think there's certain times where it can be beneficial, but the problem is when you give them certain times, they take and they keep. So there's times when America needed infrastructure, and there was times when like we just did. We needed to be able to get out west. That actually goes back to the change of flipping of ideologies and things along that line. And a lot of people get confused and think that Republicans were the racists and Democrats weren't, because it dated back to that, because there's been flips of ideologies because government has needed more involvement at time, but the problem is taking back that control from them, and they do not give it back. You'd be reluctant to find a period in time in history, probably of any government, where they had gained a piece of control and willingly gave that piece back.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I won't get too much into my politics because they're kind of extreme. So I really don't like government at all. But
I know.
but yeah, so I won't get into all that
I
crazy
agree
stuff.
with you with a lot of what you say. I like capitalism. I like some government involvement, but for a majority of everything, we should be free, and the government's job is to uphold our freedoms, not to sell us things on safety. Is where I kind of stand.
Oh yeah, okay, so the racism thing. Okay, so like, okay, so there might be like it. I'm just gonna, like, I guess, concede a little ground, like, in case there's people who watch and they're like, that's not true, there is systematic racism. Okay, well, let's say maybe there is in some town. I don't know, like, there, like,
It's possible. We
some,
haven't lived
it's
everywhere.
possible, yeah, yeah. And there might be like laws on some state books that haven't been used since the 1800s or something, and like they're not used, but they're there, like they just weren't removed, but no one uses them or something like that. They could be there, so I could be wrong, but I really don't, like, overall I don't think it's like systematic racism. I really think it's more so like the state versus us as a whole. And I think there's people in power who don't want people to unify and realize that government is the problem. So they're stoking any kind of like divide they can between people, and the whole race thing seems to be like the easiest thing to go after, because it was only like a hundred or so years ago that there was a lot of issues with racism between like blacks, whites, Indians, and stuff like that. So it's like the wounds are still fresh in their eyes, so it's easy to use that as a way to
Right.
divide people. Yeah, so I think that's why they went for that. But yeah, so then the cultural Marxists also took advantage of it too, because like I said earlier, they pick a marginalized group of people and claim that they're doing all their like they want to enact all these Marxist or communist policies in order to help them, when really it's going to hurt everyone and make everyone's poor, starving, and destitute. So, but yeah, God dang it, my ADHD.
Yeah, so pretty much, I mean, in a nutshell, you're all going to you suffer equally. It's terrible. I mean, there's no light at the end of your tunnel. There's no, oh, if I do this today, maybe I can get here tomorrow. No, you do that today, and you're gonna do that shit tomorrow too. That's that's communism. There you go.
I remember now. I remember now. Okay, so what the Marxists do, like, okay, so this is another reason why it's hard. Okay, so what I always say, like, okay, if there are racists doing like racist things like that, and they did horrible things that is a violation of someone else's rights, like beating them up because they're racist, or damaging their property because they're racist, or just overall like victimizing people because of their skin color. If someone is doing that and beating someone because they hate them, like, over their skin color, then yeah, that individual should be punished. Or if we can prove that there's politicians who are using the force of the state to you know do to I guess assault people because he's a racist, or like go after like people of a certain race because he's racist. Like if we can like point out individuals like that, then yeah, they should be punished. But see, the problem with cultural Marxists is they look at people as like a giant Borg. Like you are your group identity. You're not an individual. You're a representative of a group, and apparently everyone is a representative. It's weird, dude. So like, um, if you're black, you belong to the black group identity. If you're white, you belong to the white group identity. Asian, Mexican, so forth. And then you got the intersectionalists, and they get even crazier with it, where it's like, okay, well, we got black, gay, Muslim, like amputees, and then we got white, gay, like I don't know, like they just get crazy with it, like white, gay, feminists, autistic amputees or something like they just get kind of crazy with the whole intersectionality thing. But yeah, so that's why instead of like judging the individual who actually commits the crime, they go after the entire group. And that's why they just look at like all white people and say like, oh, they're all Nazis, or they have a certain like predetermined stereotypes about blacks and stuff like that, or Mexicans, Asians, the same thing. Like they look at people as a group instead of an individual.
Right.
So
If that guy thought that and he was part of that group, then now you all think that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there are times they only look at someone as an individual when it's like, I guess, convenient. But for the most part, they think that blacks or whites, Mexicans, Asians, they're all part of a Borg. They like they are their group identity. That is what
Right.
defines them. Like, whether it be like immutable characteristics like their skin color, or whether they're male or female and stuff like that. So that's why, you know, they just attack whites as a whole.
My one of the ways to fix this is to get away from this two party political system that we're currently in. Um, and to be honest, the party system is already terrible for Republicans in general. Even if you think Republican and you're a Republican thinker and you're on the good side, it's terrible for you because, for starters, anyone new that comes into the country, if you come into the country, most people think, oh, that's a democracy. Oh, the Democrat Party, that's the party I'm with. That's about the limit of most people's thinking. Um, I actually watched an interview, and I can't think of the guy's name, but he was coming from Mexico, and that was his exact take on it. He was like, "Well, my family and everybody that came over, we were like, well, we got Republicans. I don't know what the fuck that means, and then we got Democrats. Well, America's democracy. Okay, we're gonna vote Democrat, and then they all vote Democrat. Like, it's the that's not the only reason the two party system is terrible, but that is just like one of the examples of it's terrible. We need to get rid of it in general. There's more than two ideologies. Most people align somewhere in the middle, and that's actually what Trump makes his money on. Most people that align very far middle are all pro-Trump. Most lightly leaning right people, I think he has all of them, and he has a lot of liberals. There's a lot of liberals that aren't bad people. There's a lot of liberals that ain't stupid. There's a lot of liberals that just slightly lean left, and those people are mainly Trump supporters.
Yeah, I think like I don't know what group of people you want to point to for it, just folks in high places, government, whatever. But it's in their best interest that we keep it at just two simple ideologies. There's just these two things, and in some ways
So
they're
you can
not.
face them off against each other, just like black and white. Hey, this shit worked for black and whites. Let's do it
Yeah,
against Democrats.
it's like you got red team, blue team, pick one, and then they just kind of like push the Libertarian Party off to the side, like yeah, get out of here. They just want to keep it at those two simple ideologies, and then just have people just red team, blue team fighting against each other, and then in some ways they're not much different from each other in some ways. So it's just easy way to control people. A lot of people haven't gotten past the false two party dichotomy.
Most people don't even realize what their ideology, represents. They don't even know their own ideologies. They just know Trump said something stupid, and there's like, oh, Trump's bad. CNN just told me he just said something dumb. He's bad. There's no way you're voting for Trump. Oh my God, that that's the extent of most people's political knowledge. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna throw anyone under the bus, but like I literally just had that same conversation like with someone, and I didn't get into it with them because I'm just like, that's your extent of your knowledge is grab them by the pussy. That's the extent of your knowledge. It's what it seems. It's what
yeah,
it's made it seem like, at least. So
yeah. Like some of my family members, especially the older boomer ones, um, they don't really pay too much attention to politics. They just kind of briefly watch the news and just take that at face value, like CNN or MSNBC, whatever they say. Like most of my family's Democrat, and they've been Democrat for years. And when I tell them about some of the new stuff that's happening within the Democratic Party, they're like, "Oh my God, transgender strippers in elementary school!" Like, yeah, that's a thing. That's happening. That's happening now. And they're like, "Oh no, that can't be right," But they'll see that and they'll kind of just brush it to the side, like, well, I'm still not voting for Trump, or like, well, I still don't, care about all this libertarian nonsense and all that. They just kind of brush it to the side, like they'll see it and it'll kind of shock them, and then they just go back to their, daily induction of communist
it's easier.
democratic bullshit.
It's
Yeah,
easier to do. I got bills to pay, and it's easier just to be like, oh well, Trump's racist. That's the
it's
easiest
easy
thing
to
to
not
say.
think.
Hmm. You tell me what to think. That's all. Majority of people want. You tell me what to think.
Yeah, exactly. And then some people, in a lot of cases, it's like, um, people work long hours. I get it. Like some parents are, they work long hours or they take care of their kids, and they're just like, I don't feel like thinking that critically at the end of the day. I'm once I get the cooking done, put the kids to sleep, or if the husband gets off work and he's like worked a 12-hour shift or something, he's like, bro, I'm just going to bed. I don't give a shit about. So you got people that are like apathetic or complacent. Maybe they vote, maybe they don't vote at all. They're just like, yeah, I don't care. Or they're not really interested in like trying to like have their views challenged because they're tired. They're
Right,
you
they ain't
know
trying to argue with somebody after some. I mean, I've worked some of them jobs. I had. I literally. I mean, when I've worked a job like that, I ain't looking up shit. I'm gonna listen to somebody that I've thought was knowledgeable before, and that is my views.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
I'm just gonna
Yeah.
mimic him. I mean, I've been there, but don't do it with mainstream. That's the worst thing you can possibly do is to be like, well, I'm tired. Let me turn on CNN, make dinner. Oh, this guy, fucking Smollett. Oh my God, did you see what they did to Smollett? And it's like, well, they actually didn't, but you didn't see that piece because it was like a fucking 20-second, like, oh, we're sorry, this happened.
Yeah, um yeah, like people just like they don't feel like digging deeper into stuff after, they're just tired,
Take everything for face value.
Yep, exactly. There's like, oh, okay, like for example, another thing is like, um there's a lot of people, of course, who still think, but by some miracle, they still think that CNN and MSNBC and even sometimes like Fox now, they kind of seem like they're going a little left. But
Experts for sure.
yeah, like so they just think like, well, these are credible points of authority, so like they would never lie.
But if you
When
read
recent,
into it, you can. They are legally allowed to use basically propaganda as a means of media. It wasn't always like that, but it is now. I just want to throw that
yeah,
in there.
yeah, of course. Like, oh, recently, so there was like this article that the Atlantic released that said that they literally just completely made this up. They said like Trump said that like veterans who died are like losers or whatever, and it was just arbitrarily made up by the Atlantic. If you read the article, it said they had four sources. It didn't even cite them, just four sources, right? So the Atlantic made that article. Then MSNBC cited it on a broadcast as if it were true. So and then they also wrote an article on it. And then like there was other leftist media outlets that wrote articles on it. And then they cited the Atlantic as the source for this for this news or whatever. And then when people are reading through, I know this because I do it myself, or I guess I don't do it myself. Like when I'm reading through an article, sometimes I'm too lazy to click on the hyperlinks where they cite the source. Like,
Right. You need to read
oh,
the text.
article, yeah, yeah, I do. But like, oh, this just in from the Atlantic, hyperlinked in blue. A lot of people aren't gonna click on it. They're gonna just think like, oh, that's their source. Okay, then they continue on reading and be like, oh, this is credible. Yeah, totally. That's really fucked up that he did that when he never did it at all. Like the Atlantic never cited their sources because it never friggin' happened.
And even before most people, like I would say most people wouldn't even go as far as to click into that article. They would just simply read that headline. And then your next set of people, they're smart enough to click into the article because they've been in arguments where they were like, "Oh, well, have you even read the article?" And they're like, "Well, we do now," but then they're not smart enough to click into the fucking blue links. So then it's like, so this was just all make believe, and most people don't even go that far. They just don't. It's not a majority of people.
Yep, yep.
So you're 100% right on.
But yeah, man. So was there anything else you wanted to hop to next? Cause like, there's like a ton of stuff I could talk about. I just don't know where to go next.
Steer it wherever you want. Go for it.
Okay, so uh okay, I guess to circle back to like communism, right? So in case people are wondering, like I guess like maybe like why communism doesn't work, why it's not good. If it's not good if your goal is the progression and prosperity of humanity. If your goal is to have everybody starve and die, maybe enact population control that way, then yeah, communism's great. So, like the problem with okay, so there's like these folks that call themselves Antifa or cultural Marxists. There's several types of communism that these people talk about enacting and stuff. So one form of communism is like I guess like USSR style or China style, like highly centralized power dictates what businesses do, rations resources to people like food and housing and stuff like that. And those people, there's people who do support that type of communism, and then they just say like, oh well, Mao, Stalin, Mussolini, they just didn't do it right. So but we're gonna do it right this time. So you got those folks, and then you got this other group of folks. There might be another group I'm missing, um, but because there's probably so many like sub factions of
Oh
these
yeah.
lefties, so like, I can't keep up sometimes. But yeah, then you got this other group of folks. So we already know why the USSR style and like Mao type communism, that's bad. Like having rationed resources never works. Like
Right.
I'll get to that in a bit. But then you got these other folks of commies that are like they call themselves anarcho-communists, which in my mind is a fucking oxymoron. So they think that they're gonna have communism without a state. Well, they can try, they can try to start it off that way, but the thing, so and some of them advocate for having a moneyless society. Because money, capitalism, currency, all that's evil. Those are all tenets of capitalism, and that's evil. So some of them advocate for having like
Which is
no money.
crazy. So they want a
Yes.
barter system, but they're not willing to work typically. So it's
Well, what it is like they think that. Well, yeah, I guess it would kind of be like a barter system. They think that. That everyone, the incentive to work and produce things will be for the welfare of the commune. Well, that's not. It completely ignores human nature. It doesn't work like that. People don't think like that. Majority of people don't. Not even they don't even think like that. But they're so disingenuous, and they have like severe cognitive dissonance. They don't even realize it, or they won't admit to it. So but it doesn't work like that. So they're saying that they're going to have this stateless communism. It's like, okay, and they don't believe in hierarchies. That's another thing. They don't believe in having hierarchies because that's another evil tenet of capitalism. Well, okay, well then when I debate with these guys, like I usually ask them, instead of like trying to like call them names and stuff, I try to ask them, okay, well, who decides how the resources are allocated? Who does that? If you have a business structure or something like where they're producing things, somebody or some group of people have to decide how resources are allocated, and some people might be better at it than others. Now, by default, now you have a hierarchy because
mm-hmm.
someone has to decide. Someone also has to decide how labor is allocated. And then if they respond saying like, okay, well, we would take a vote. Okay, well, now you still have a hierarchy because now you have a group of people who won this vote, and they're gonna make decisions for the minority of people that did not consent or disagreed with their judgments. So,
Right.
like there's that. Also, you know, usually in a communist type system, whether it be like this anarcho-communism or like centralized communism, they like who decides how resources are priced or how they're valued? Because we need prices give us an idea of like the scarcity of resources. See, this is another issue with communism. They live in this post scarcity fantasy land. If resources on earth were infinite, then okay, sure, we could have this like commie world, sing kumbaya and just enjoy like infinite plentiful
Everybody has
resources.
everything.
Yeah, everybody has everything.
But in
You know,
reality, nobody has anything.
nobody has anything. Yes. So yeah, so it's like prices give us an idea of the scarcity of a service or resources. Like it's also yeah, because things are priced mostly based on demand, the demand for the product or the service. Communism doesn't adhere to any of that. They don't care about currency speculation. They don't care about the supply and demand, or how to appropriately price labor or anything like that. And especially when it comes down to like who decides who allocates the resources, usually I just get some retarded response like, "Oh, fuck you," or well, that's not an argument, but anywho, whatever. And or they just never say anything at all because they don't know what that business model would really look like,
Right.
because it would be a complete dumpster fire.
Yes.
Like, because like they say they're against hierarchies. Well, you already have a hierarchy that is being created out of necessity to make these critical decisions. And they don't see that's where the cog disc comes in. So, and if they did, go with that model, like where, there was someone making these decisions about how labor and resources are allocated. Okay, well now you have a centralized power, because now it's like probably like a council of people who decide how businesses are to price their products or services, and how labor is distributed, how resources are out, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have a centralized power. So it doesn't matter if they try to just call it anarcho-communism or just USSR style communism. It all leads back to a highly centralized, usually ends up in like a dictatorship type, power.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why. And so when you argue with them on like an economic standpoint and ask them those critical questions about that, that are really important things about how a business should function, you'll get some ad hominem attacks or no answer at all. Or they might try to move the goalpost to something else. Yep. And but I rarely see them try to answer the question. But that's why communism does not work. Also, another thing I'd like to add too is like when you do have a highly centralized power dictating how businesses should allocate resources or price their items, it destroys competition. No one's going to want to enter into that market because their business is going to be immediately taken over by government, and the businesses that existed have like now lost any motivation to really try to offer like quality services. All of their stuff is being rationed by the government. I mean, essentially the government has completely taken over the business. I don't even like the CEO is probably just CEO in name only. Like it doesn't really, everything's dictated by the government now. And how he should price his stuff.
Yeah, you're absolutely
Um,
no advancement. You're not going to advance even as a civilization. You're not going to advance technology. You're not going to advance. You're not going to advance socially. You're not going to advance anything in that form. You're not. You're not advancing.
nope, nope,
Everybody
because they.
just share an opinion. Everybody share everything. Everybody. Everybody, you're the same. That's
Yep,
pretty much it.
Yep, it just destroys all incentive to try to do better than the next guy or even come up with like some crazy new idea that might make life more convenient for everyone. Well, might as well not bother fucking marketing this shit. The government's going to take over my business for number one, and number two, I'm not going to get paid that much for it because everybody's got to be paid around the same amount for equality. So, we can't have those hierarchies, guys. Only the government is allowed to be like have a place of dominance over everyone. The council delegating all this crap. I don't know. It's just stupid. There's so many holes in their ideology, or how they want their system to work. That it completely goes against human nature. People don't think like that. There has to be more incentive to produce things than, oh, the good of the commune, comrade. It's for your gift is the prosperity of the commune. Like, no, fuck that. I'm not working for that.
See, and to add to the points you made, like typically when like I don't get into that thick of a discussion typically because that's beyond me a little bit with the different communisms that you were going into, and like from like the super economical standpoint. I mean, I do understand it, but to add to that, like yeah, I've read things and I've read those arguments, and they won't respond to it because they can't. Instead, they just go on a capitalism attack, but in reality, we don't even have true capitalism, and we don't have the capitalism we need in America today. It's actively being strangled by communist ideology and communist ideas in general. We strangle it every day. We see it. We see that in our schools is probably the one of the biggest areas we see it in.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, and capitalism is a very loaded word because of how it's been demonized by these people over the years. So I try to remember to say free market now. Like I am for free markets,
Yeah.
because when I try to tell them that when I say capitalism, I mean free markets, they're like, well, no, that's not the Marxian definition of capitalism. Okay, actually, the Harvard definition is slavery and the subjugation of poor people. Okay, like so, I'm like, what? Okay, well, I don't agree with that
This is the
definition, and if we
version
can.
I agree with, asshole.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. See, all right. So these people, they do all these fucking like mental and semantic gymnastics. That's why it's very hard to debate with a leftist, because there are 20 different meanings to words in their book. Like, so when we think of, like, I guess buzzwords like capitalism, we're thinking of like the conventional term, which is free markets, or where the means of production are privately owned, free enterprise, whatever, with no government intervention. That is like the conventional definition of capitalism. They're like, well, no, some guy in France in 1671 defined it as this, and that's what it is. That it's like, okay, well, you're not the word police, neither is that guy. So I can use my words however I want. Definitions aren't necessarily like objective truths.
Right.
The thing is that the leftists will never agree to your meaning of the term. So it's very hard to have a discussion and get anywhere with them, because if you try to use capitalism to say free markets, they're like, no, that's not correct. That's not all it means. It means these 20 other things that Karl Marx said it meant. It's like, okay, well, I just don't agree with that. I'm not going to go. So I try to say free markets or free enterprise. And then it's funny because when I do that, they'll keep referring to it as capitalism. I'm like, no, I'm talking about free markets now, because because that's clear cut when you say like free markets. That is
Mm-hmm.
what I'm talking about,
Right.
free market. And then they they keep using capitalism. I'm like, okay, bro, I'm not even using that word anymore. And they just try to twist the meaning of your words deliberately. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's very hard to have a discussion
Yeah,
with these
you're
people.
not even having a true debate, and they don't even care about the ideology in general when they're debating it to that extent. They just care about twisting your words to be like, "Oh no, you said this." Like, no, and you've still yet to defend anything. Is typically how it
Exactly. Like it's like
goes.
they're trying to tell me what I really believe when I'm trying to explain what I believe to them.
Right. Like, no, I'm telling you,
Why?
I
No.
believe this. Like,
Exactly. Exactly. And then they say, "Well, you're being disingenuous." I'm like, well, shit. If you think I'm a liar, we can't even have a debate. You think everything that I'm lying about my beliefs. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's a wrap. I don't,
right.
they're very I don't know, they're very like snaky people. Like I don't know, they're really sly. They're the ones who are actually very disingenuous. So it's very hard debating a leftist. And like I said, they'll just outright ignore facts, even if you send them videos or articles, citations, and stuff like that.
They
They'll just
just
ignore it.
they pretend to know everybody's thoughts. It's ridiculous. Like, if I say something, it's, "Oh, you're a racist." I'm like, no, I didn't even. And if it came out that way, I didn't even intend for it to. I'm like, no, that's something a racist would say. Like, what?
Yeah, I mean that's what they deal in. Like they know. I think a lot of them know that their arguments are bankrupt. Their ideology is bankrupt. But so that's why they specialize in character assassination. They don't try to like have any substantive argument or try to like focus on what's objectively true. They're not there to like try to find some truth at the end of the discussion, or learn something from the debate. They're there to manipulate, twist your words. They're just not honest people.
Right. If you fail, no matter like what you believe, if you fail to identify something that is good as good, then you're an idiot. Like, for example, like Trump recently, he absolutely actually helped two black-owned businesses. They were burned down as part of the BLM Antifa fucking whatever you want to call them. Like, I'm calling them riots, but it is what it is. Call it whatever you want. So there was two black-owned businesses that were burned down, and he actually helped market one of the GoFundmes, and I think he actually donated to him as well. I'm not positive. I didn't read through it enough, but I mentioned that story to a liberal, and it's like, "Oh my God, Trump's not racist anymore, guys. He helped two black people," and blah 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 blah. I'm like, that's not what I said at all. But like, I don't know why you even took it that far. Like, but if you can't identify the good in something, and even if it is good, then like that is so idiotic to me. Like, it just is. Like,
Yeah, like it's really ridiculous because I've always been told actions speak louder than words. Well, if he really is like helping these like black businesses, or like how he released that black woman from jail or whatever, pardoned her, uh, and stuff, it's like, well, why would a racist do that? And even if it was for publicity, that's still a great thing that happened to those
right.
people. Like it still
You don't
genuinely
even have to
helped
you
those
don't have to
people.
like Trump. You don't have to agree with any of his ideologies, but acknowledge any if he did something good, fucking acknowledge it. Like, that's if Bernie did something good, I'd be like, dude, he did that shit. That shit was actually awesome. I fucking hate that guy,
Yeah.
but that was awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I don't know. They don't look at that. They've just been programmed orange mad bad, like, and if anything goes against that programming, then they just blue screen and just start freaking out. I mean, what the media has done, the liberal media has done to people here, and what the culture Marxists have done to the education system. Like it's like Yuri Bezmenov said, it's to that point where it's damn near irreversible. Like it's really sad because I think at this point, uh, in order for people to wake up and realize that what's happened, um, they would have to suffer through something traumatic, like being poor and starving under communism, and then they'll wake up and just be like, "Oh, this shit was horrible." Well, yeah,
It was
now it's too late,
wrong.
motherfucker. It's too late. It's like the damage is done, and I really don't even want it to get that far.
It
But if
shouldn't. Like, you can't see the people that are running from other countries right now that are that in the past and like even currently still that are like, this country sucks. We need freedom. We need free market. That's what they're coming to America for, is freedom and free market. But in reality, it's not. It's an attack on our freedoms are under attack every day right now in America, and it's not a free market any longer. It really isn't. We're being strangled by your fucking idiotic ideologies.
Yeah, and it's been very subtle. It's been very subtle and a very slow creeping thing over the years, and like they've just ramped it up. And like from 2000, from the late 2000s to now, it's just full overdrive. Communism, you
Mm-hmm.
want it now? like, but yeah, like people don't understand. Like even there's a lot of people out there who, like you said, like don't understand what communism is, or collectivism overall, socialism, all that stuff. But we've been, like a lot of people have been subtly programmed to accept it. Like, okay, so when we look at like Social Security, it's in the name. It's a socialist policy, but man, they've been so good at brainwashing these people that a lot of people don't even look at it as socialist because they just think like, well, America's not socialist, so that means like these programs are like not socialist as well. It's like, no, they that's socialism. Like we,
Right.
you know, redistributing.
You don't even need it if people are so goofy. If you don't have to tax people for these stupid ass policies, because a lot of these ideas are not even bad. Like, if you go into Social Security, like, yeah, you setting yourself up for the future, but there's so many other routes. You don't have to have forced um taxation and shit that comes out of your checks. You can do it yourself. Like,
Yeah.
we can go to food stamps, we can go to SNAP, we can go to all these programs, and I understand there's a lot of people out there that need help. There legit is, and that's why, like, I wouldn't attack. Like, I see a lot of, like, Republicans attack food stamps in general. I don't attack that, but what I attack out of it is the forced part of it, because you're forced. Some of those taxes that you're paying are forcefully being put into these programs when they don't need to do that. If those same companies made a voluntary charity like program, you know how many people would donate to them? Look at the Red Cross.
Look at GoFundMe. Oh my God.
Yes.
If you ever scroll through GoFundMe, you'll see some of the dumbest
Right.
campaigns. Like, you'll see very serious ones, like, or someone is like seriously ill or injured, and they'll have thousands of dollars raised for them. I'll see some where they like $50,000 raised for them. It's like, and for whatever reason, these liberals are like, oh, you can't rely on charities. People don't give a shit, so that's why they have to be forced to pay. It's like, no, not according to GoFundMe. If you go look and scroll through that shit, you'll see everything from someone who is seriously dying who raised $200,000 to help with their illness to some guy who said, "Yeah, my baby mama just kicked me out. I need $1,000 for a place to stay." And you'll see people have donated
Right.
to that. So it's like,
There's all
I
kinds of people
mean,
that are just looking to do a good thing. So, like, if you had, let's say you literally created a new SNAP program, a new food assistance program, and you made it without the intention of government involvement because it's not fucking needed. Um, you could start up a GoFundMe with that. You could absolutely just market it, and I'm sure, like, marketers would push it for free because that's a good thing to do too. So you would get people that are actively wanting to donate, just like the Red Cross calls people, and people are willing to give them their blood. They don't get paid for that shit. So and you know how big the Red Cross is? It's international. It's worldwide. The Red Cross is fucking everywhere, and it's all based on the idea of people voluntarily giving them blood.
yep, I've done it twice in my lifetime. You don't
So
really see them around too often here. I don't know why,
So
but
why
yeah.
do you need government involvement for any of these programs? I'm not going to tell you your programs are bad. Your programs are bad because of the government involvement.
Yes, exactly. Anything like when things generally when things are monopolized by the state, the quality of service is absolute dog shit. This is garbage. But like, also to add to that, the whole taxation thing. Like, okay, I guess we will get into a little bit of my crazy politics. So here, okay, so um, you know, my view on it is that taxation is theft. It's it's compulsory. Like, the state is not entitled to the product of your labor. I understand like some people's arguments from it from an emotional standpoint. Well, people need help. We need these services or whatever. Like, we need roads and public schools. It's like, well, how were the roads built before 1913? Businesses built them. The volunteers built them. So I've heard like the roads argument, and then schooling. Well, look at how terrible schooling is now, and it's run by the state, the federal government. It's fucking garbage.
It is.
Like, private schooling would be way better. It probably wouldn't be anywhere near as
If you
expensive,
got rid of
especially
all public
college.
schooling, if you got rid of all public schooling and it all went private, you know how cheap school would be. You know,
Exactly.
it wouldn't be, oh, my kid has to go here. It'd be these schools competing for your kid to give him the best education. No, we can give him a better one. No, we can give him a better one and cheaper. No, 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 no. We just got these new books. That's what you would be creating. You wouldn't be creating the government just gave us new books because fucking we needed them for these 1,000 kids that we don't fucking want.
Yeah, and when the government took over schooling, like a lot of the states were staunchly against it. They didn't want this education to be monopolized by the state because the founding fathers, they knew that like if the state ever got involved with education, well, the state is going to like indoctrinate your children to only trust the state, live for the state, and everything they say is true. And look where we are now.
Why? How can you got a single basically body of government that is probably combined by some fucking stupid ass council. I don't know who runs the fucking top of like the school chain or whatever, but saying what they think all your kids should know. Like, why is that group in charge of all of that? Like, there's a lot of people that question why the president has so much power. Why the fuck do they have so much power to tell you what your child should know? Don't you think it would be smarter to fucking have a local level, or I mean, that might even be too far. There should be different schools that can fucking offer different services that literally can. Oh, your child, if he comes here, he's going to know this. If he comes here, he's going to know that. Where does your child see his future? If he wants to be a programmer when he's 8 fucking years old, guess what? He can go to this school because it offers awesome programming skills. Or if this kid wants to be a fucking astronaut, well, let's teach him why he's 8. Not when he's
Yeah.
fucking 30.
Yeah. No, those are all great questions, but the problem is that's not the goal. It's not to be logical and give the best education. It's to indoctrinate you to be obedient tax cattle. Like, you're smart enough to know how to do your job, but not smart enough to like critically think about what the government is doing to you or how they're reaming you up the butt. Like, so yeah, that's why the education sucks, and especially now that we have like these Marxists in the school systems now and in high places in government. So now they're trying to, well, they've already, since like maybe like the 50s, been indoctrinating people to be Marxists, and it seems to have paid off. I mean, we're like, look at how demoralized and destabilized the country is now. Like, you know people don't know their left from their right, and a lot of people don't. They're not. We don't have a lot of critical thinkers.
At all.
No offense to them. It's not. It's no. Well, it's mostly no fault of their own. Like, I don't know. I don't know where exactly it happened, where people started becoming more apathetic about government and politics and stuff. But now we see the consequences of that. That's why it's always important to pay attention to what government is doing, what's happening in societies, especially in your local community. I mean, if you're being governed, you should be privy to what the government is trying to do to you. But
Mm-hmm.
I understand like there's a lot of the subversion that goes on too. So, and maybe someone just missed it because like they work too damn much and they don't have time
Right.
to research all that. So yeah, I mean, I can understand it's tough, but this is the consequences of what happens when you have people who become apathetic or complacent, and the government just not even that many people really vote. I mean, the government just is just running roughshod on
Yeah,
everybody.
not many people vote. You're 100% accurate, and that is exactly why they are just giving you these bullshit terms and pushing this racist fucking ideology and like racist talk down your throats because they know you're going to hear that. That's the one thing you're going to hear. If someone's fucking racist in 2020, you're going to hear that. That's the one thing you're going to stop stop doing what you're doing, stop at your job. Like, how the fuck is this guy racist? And I mean, you're not gonna look into it. You're just gonna be like, this motherfucker's racist. I ain't voting for him. And then you're like, now I gotta vote. So now I gotta vote for this guy that sniffs people. And that's pretty much where it goes.
Oh yeah, there was one more thing I wanted to say about the whole tax thing and government thing. Like, okay, so the whole idea about like taxation being theft is like you own yourself, right? Your body is your private property. You own it, and the logic it would logically follow that you own the product of your labor as well. I mean, if you don't, then who does? Like, so who's entitled to that? I don't think it's the government. I don't think it's any other individual either. That's like you're starting to make an argument for slavery if that's what you
Right.
believe. So, yeah, like and that's also where a lot of our rights are derived, like the fact that you own yourself and you are entitled to the product of your labor, and no one has the right to aggress against you or violate your property, which would be like your body or things that you've worked for, like your house, your car, whatever you own.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, no one is just born with the right to rule over another human being. Like I'm not born entitled to rule over you,
Right.
and vice versa. So it's like, if we, on an individual level, if we understand that, how can we delegate rights that we don't have to other people? That,
Right.
like, just because, like, let's say it's a group of 50 of us that vote to impose a certain ideology on, like, I don't know, another minority group of folks, like 20 people. So I guess, like, yeah, 70 people take a vote, 50 of them win, the other 20 like lose. It doesn't magically make the group of 50 justified in imposing their ideology on the 20 people that didn't consent. They're still having their rights violated because, you know, might doesn't make right. Those people, even though it's like a larger group of folks that won the vote, doesn't like magically increase their meter to subjugate other people, like their right to subjugate other people. It doesn't legitimize it. So yeah, that's basically
You're
how I look at things.
you're right on, and like, to if I add to that, so if we under communism, you can't be free. You can't have a group of people that says, "Nah, we're going to do it this way." But under freedom and under what America is supposed to be and supposed to stand for, your little fucking group of 200 retards or whoever the fuck they are can say, "Hey, we're going to all share our money and we're going to all be a little communist little fucking group." And you can do that legally in America.
Exactly.
So why
Yes.
the fuck do you need all of us on board with you? Go do it. You're
Well, the
you're
thing
you're
is,
free to pool your money all together. Go do it, please.
well, okay, I think it's a multifaceted issue. Like, okay, so a lot of these people, a lot of them are fucking control freaks. They're authoritarians. Because it's usually what happens in a communist country. It's like a dictator and a bunch of people that work under said dictator. Like, I guess his right hand man and some people on the council and whatever. So yeah, they're a bunch of fucking megalomaniacs. And then the other issue is like, it's they're lazy, jealous people. Like, they're jealous of people who usually have more than them, or they're successful. That's why they always rail against people like Jeff Bezos and stuff like that, and or people who are just like millionaires and billionaires. Like, oh, they have too much. They're too damn successful. So,
And then when
um,
those same people are like, "Yeah, we have too much. We're so successful." All right, well then go give your money to some people, motherfuckers.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. No, they're just pandering. But
I know.
um, but yeah, so and then like there's like part of them, I'm sure, realize that this is a really bunk ideology, but I just want to control a lot of motherfuckers.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping that if I pander to this Marxist bullshit, that I get a seat at the round table. Kind of like how Yuri Bezmenov said, like the useful idiots or whatever, like these people who are pushing this shit, like the people in Hollywood, actresses, the media, or politicians. They're useful idiots. They think that they're gonna have a seat at the table when really they're just gonna be lined up against the wall and shot. Once they see that, no, it's not you. You weren't picked. Sorry, buddy. And then that person, feels insulted, gets disillusioned, like Yuri Bezmenov says. Because like I've noticed, like, a lot of these people that support this crap are like very self-righteous and arrogant and stuff.
Yep.
So I imagine they probably have a fragile ego, but um But yeah, like, um, yeah. So they think that that they're gonna get a piece of the pie, and that, so that's why they're pushing all this crap. They think that they're gonna be the ones in control. That's some of them, and the other ones are just lazy. They're just like, I want free shit. I just want free housing. I want free food. I want free education. I just want free stuff, and I want everyone to be equal, or because like I'm miserable, everyone should be brought down to my level or
Right.
whatever. Or
Everybody should be miserable with me.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
That's a saying. Misery loves company. It's 100%. That's yeah. It's crazy.
yeah. So, um, any other topics you can think of off the top of your head that you might want to touch on with like the political climate now, or well, I guess we kind of already know what's happening with the censorship and stuff. That's just
Right.
another byproduct of fucking Marxism.
Hmm.
That's what happened in China and the USSR. Like, you must not speak against the commune, comrade. Or else you'd be taken to the gulag and stuff. It's just pretty much the same crap.
I just think it's hilarious that like really left wing people like call right people, that oh, you're a Republican, you're a Nazi, and then you go to fight that with fascism. It's like you just fought you're Antifa and you're fighting fascism with fascism. It's fucking hilarious. It's like let's kill his free speech. Like what?
Well, yeah, that's that cognitive dissonance.
Yep.
Some of them don't realize it because they're low IQ individuals, and some of them do realize it, and they're just liars. They're just
Right.
really bad liars and bad actors. They're bad faith actors. They don't care. They know they're lying. They know what they're pushing is bullshit. But again, they think that they are going to greatly benefit from it when, I guess, however they envision the world they want comes into fruition. They're hoping that it comes into fruition. They think that they're going to be in a better place, like a place of power, or something like that. Or they just really just don't realize how their economics like are bunk, and they don't work.
They don't. It it holds back. You're holding back entire civilizations with the way that they're thinking. Like communism is literally it's holding back civilization, and they're only doing that because they're just making a fuck ton of money at their positions of power. So they're loving life. Hey, we're living the best life that we can live, but in reality, I mean, they're even not because you're crushing an advancement of civilization. Like, can you imagine where like America in general would be if schools were how I said they should be, or like, what I'm saying, with all the private everything's a private school. There is no public schools. How much farther they would be advanced. We seen it in the space industry. We seen what Elon Musk just did, with SpaceX. Like, and they even had a cool ass innovative idea where the fucking rocket landed back down because hey, that just saved us money. So now we're creating innovative ideas because we're making money as a company. So hey, we just landed our rocket. Now we can reuse that. Like NASA would have never fucking done that because we're just
Exactly.
getting money from this government just to shoot up fucking rockets. We don't need to save no money. It's free. Where the hell is this money coming from? I don't know, but it's coming. Who cares? It's, but Elon Musk is like, no, motherfuckers, I need to keep my money. Like, so this rocket's going to land back on this fucking target so I can reuse it.
Yeah, like that shit would never happen under communism. No one would ever like, even if they had tangled with the idea, they'd be like, well, the government will just take it anyway, so there is no point. So they wouldn't even pursue it.
Not at all.
I don't even know where they would find the resources to study that, because usually in like these communist dictatorships, they regulate. Education is heavily regulated. You can't read about certain things, and then in some of the past communist dictatorships, you couldn't even choose your friggin' job. So like,
It's very sad because like kids are really fucking smart and they're smarter than most people give them credit for because like for me is I can hand my 7 year old or my even my 3 year old I can hand him a tablet and he can fucking work the thing and it's like you're gonna constrict them to these ideas that you think are best for them and this learning program that literally it doesn't push them to actually be anywhere better in life. It's just hey, you should know this basic math. And sure, maybe you should know that basic math. That's fucking fine. But if we have private schools, like, I really want those. So I'm pushing it. Like, I really fucking want those. Like, those should be a thing. Like, they are a thing, but they're not. They don't work the way that they should because public school interferes with it. And in reality, it should all be private schools, and everyone should be competed for. And just think of how much farther we would be as a civilization. Like, I bet we would have been. We'd probably. I mean, I don't know if we're going to colonize Mars, but we would have had one on there if we were going to. If schools worked like that, if schools worked like, oh, this kid says he's 9 years old, because most kids will know what they want to. They know what they want to be when they're young. And I mean, a lot of those ideas change because you realize, fucking, holy shit, this sucks. But they would know that at a much younger age. Like, if that kid wanted to be a programmer, he would know that he didn't when he was 8 when he fucking tried that shit and it sucked because I did that. And then I got to where I was like 18 and I was like, holy shit, programming is terrible. This ain't what video game design I thought it was. Like, I want to be the
Yeah.
story portion of it. So like, but like, if they knew that at that young age, then they could push themselves and they would actually be more intelligent. We would be more intelligent people in general.
Yeah, like standardized education stifles that. Everyone, because it's they government has a one size fits all approach. It doesn't, cater to like the individual, like a private school would. Like a private school, since it's, if especially in a free market, they would probably have so many different electives and probably just focus on what the child wanted to learn. They might have some like standard math courses or something, but they could be optional,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be up to the parent really, and the kid, depending on what he wanted to,
Like, you
what
should
path he wanted
definitely
to
know
take.
how to read and write, and you should know how to read
Yeah.
in cursive. I get all that, and that would
Yeah.
be in pretty much probably every one of those schools. And if it wasn't, you'd have the option of not fucking going there.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just same crap up from pre-K to high school. Just to stand, and then you have to repeat some of the same shit in college, and then you gotta pay for it. It's like, I've already done this. Why do I have to pay for it now? Like, are you serious? Why can't I just focus on my? That's why I dropped out of college too, because it's like, all right, so I go sign up for classes for the semester. Like, I think my first degree I was working on was for foreign language. Only two classes out of like the friggin' like 4 or 5 I was taking were relevant to foreign language, and the rest was like a repeat of English and math from like high school. I'm just like, I don't want to pay, like, if I don't want to pay for this. I've already
Right.
done this. Why do I have to go through this? But it's mandatory. You have to. It's part of the degree. And it just sucks, man. Like, I just want to go to learn this foreign language, and that's it. That's all I want to know. I've already done all that other shit. I just want to learn foreign language now. I don't want all this other bullshit. But of course, I don't know why the school does it. I really don't. I mean, I guess it's for money. Make them pay for all this other standardized crap again. But I mean, yeah, it just sucks, and not everyone learns the same. Like, not a lot. Not everyone, wants to like focus on like astronomy and or basic social. They don't want to keep repeating that from like elementary on to college. They just want to focus on their electives and stuff, and that could be another thing why people, I guess like me, like dropped out. They're just like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I don't want to do this. This is not
Well,
what
I
I
mean,
signed up for.
most people, like, even like, I was guilty of it too, and I assume you would be. We only went to college because we felt like we were supposed to. Most people feel
Yep.
like that's what
Yep.
the school leads you to. Like, instead of telling you, hey, you should probably do this trade school, learn this awesome fucking skill, and that will be useful for the rest of your fucking life. But instead, no, just go to college, get this degree. And most people with those degrees aren't even in a field where that degree would have played a part. And that is if you graduated. I did go, and I finished my school only because I paid so much fucking money in the first place. So I was like, I'm definitely finishing this stupid shit. Because I started going for programming. I was like, nah, this sucks. And then I switched it to a business degree, and I was like, I really don't want to fucking do this. This is really boring, but I fought through that, and then I was like, I kind of dropped out for a minute, and then I ended up returning and finishing it for a marketing degree because I figured it would help me in the future as far as being able to market yourself in general. I'm not in a field where, well, I guess I do use it in my field, but I'm not in one. I'm not like a sales or marketing rep or anything, but um, I figured that would be the most useful degree I could get in business in general, so I finished with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. Like, it
Yeah,
just sucks. Like all the debt you rack up. I'm paying off
exactly.
my debt now.
I 100% could be in the same position I'm in today without that marketing degree, and I just wouldn't be in debt.
Exactly.
I
Like,
don't.
luckily, like a friend of mine put me up on CCNA, Cisco Certified Networking Associate certification. And it only costs $300, and you probably only need 6 months of studying Cisco routers and switches and like networking concepts, learning the command line, learning how to subnet, and then you pay your $300, take your test, and then you're certified, and then boom, you can jump into any job making anywhere from 40 to 50,000 starting off. That's fucking amazing. I think I started off at like 40, 42, or whatever 18 an hour was. Like I started off of that, and then converted to making 25 an hour. So that was like maybe like a year after I got my certification, because I had to like search for a job for a little bit.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I mean, like, and that's way cheaper than college. Way cheaper. Certification only costs $300, and there's a lot of different IT certs. There's programming certs, like you can get some for Ruby and Python. There's also A plus, of course, and
So these are
Security plus.
those are all awesome, and like that's fucking awesome, and that's what, if we do have public schools like we do now, which I don't agree with, but if we do, that's the things they should be pushing. They should be pushing children to fucking get a skill, learn something, get a certificate for something, and they should be showing them how to do that. You figured that out on your own, I'm sure, or your friend.
Yeah, I had a friend that already worked in networking, and he
Exactly.
put me up on that.
Right, and you should have, those avenues should have been shown to you in school. They should have been shown. If public school is a thing, you should have learned about different avenues that you can go with your life in public school. It shouldn't have been fucking, oh well, when you get out of school, you should probably go back to school and learn some more shit that you're never gonna use. It's just gonna be more of the same thing for 22 years of your life, if you graduated at 18 and went for your bachelor's degree, and it's literally high school again, except you don't have to show up to class and get in trouble for it now because we don't give a fuck if you don't come.
Yeah, that's basically what it was like. I mean, yeah, like for me, I just didn't have the patience. There are some people who have astronomical amounts of patience. There's a lot out there, and they're able to put up with it and repeat all those history, science, math, and English classes. They don't mind repeating all that stuff, and then just doing like two electives that are actually relevant to their area of study a year. Yeah, some people have the patience for that. I didn't. I was just like, this is bullshit. I'm done. I'm cashing out, dude. I've already got like $20,000 in student loans. I'm done. I'm not. Nope. That was enough for me. These people I hear about, they got like 100 and 200,000. I'm like, bruh, what were you doing? No, I seriously do kind of wonder, like, the fuck were they doing? Because, like, I know when I was going through the loan application stuff, they would only let me take out a certain amount, So I'm just like, bro, how did you get to 100,000? Have you been in school for 20 years? What is going on? Like, so, but yeah, I don't know.
On top of, man, those guaranteed loans are so terrible. That's such a fucking terrible thing.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, like it just blew my mind because I do have like one or two friends that have like somewhere like 70,000. I'm like, bro,
I'm
what were
up there
you
too. I got
doing?
like 50,000 in loans, and I for starters, I started college when I was 17, and you handed a 17-year-old $2,000 that was just excess money that was guaranteed loans that I would have to pay
Oh,
back.
I'm buying video games.
But
Fuck that.
exactly, I bought a fucking paintball gun. I'm out shooting people's cars. Like, I'm gonna do all kinds of stupid shit.
Hell yeah! I'm buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'm getting video
Yeah,
games.
like I did all kinds of dumb shit. Like I literally fucking, I used to play Rainbow Six Vegas 1, which I'm sure you remember. I literally went out and bought all the matching clothes of my Rainbow Six Vegas 1 character
Bruh, no!
just so
Stop!
I could make a video and shoot my friend in the head with a paintball gun. Like
Oh my
We
god,
did
that's
like we
crazy.
dressed up one of my friends as Phobia from Vegas One, which I'm sure you probably remember Phobia. Like he was one of the pro
Yeah,
players.
phobia. Eh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
remember
used to wear a yellow
that dude.
outfit with a green fucking ninja thing on, and I put one of my friends in that, and then I dressed up in the fucking outfit I always had, which was a gold hat, some sunglasses, a tank top, and fucking just some regular like cargo pants, and I even grabbed the I even went and bought like the bike things with it or whatever, so it had the elbow pads, and I fucking made a video that says Gold Rush clutches against phobia, and I had him down there doing like he was doing the bomb, and I shoot him in the head. But that's the kind of stupid shit that I was doing with my money, like that I have to pay back like an exorbitant amount of interest on because I don't fucking know. I'm 17. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, bro. Well, that's because school doesn't teach you how to survive in the world. It
No.
doesn't teach you money management. That's more so on your parents.
Right.
But, you know, again, like, the government has no interest in doing that. That's not what they're trying to control education for. They don't
Oh
want
yeah.
you to think critically and, you know,
I've
you
done
just
some
need to be
stupid
obedient
shit.
tax cattle. No, dude, I wonder what happened to those guys. Let's see, what was it? Phobia, Jehu, J Cash, Finest X,
A
and
lot of them played
Technique.
Siege. I don't know about Phobia, but Jehu
They
definitely
went.
played Siege.
They went where?
They were playing Siege. We played with them, or well, we played against them a couple times on Rainbow Six Siege. Back
Oh, okay.
when it was still on when the Pro League was still on Xbox. Me and John and my brother and who else? We had a couple other we had a couple other people from back in the day that played, and then we had a new guy that played with us.
So wait, Siege is off of the league now.
It for Xbox it is. It I think after season two they dropped Xbox, but it's all PC now.
Oh wow.
But like
Okay.
remember like Beastly?
Yes, I remember
He's a
Beastly.
pro.
Yeah.
He's still a pro to this day on PC.
Wow. Isn't he? So he's probably like 30 something. He's still.
Oh yeah, he's I think he was
Yeah.
my age, so he's probably like 30, 31.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that dude really loves some Rainbow. Then let's see who else.
I
Like I don't know
remember
if you
him
remember.
from Vegas One, so yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember him. I remember Easy. General. I think General. Someone told me General X got cancer.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, that was really sad. He used to be in Picture Perfect. I don't know if you remember them.
I do.
Yeah, he was in there, and I heard he got cancer, and he just like disappeared. What is it? Who else? There was a,
He
I
might
think
have really. There was a lot of like fake rumors that went around though, like Craig all day in a wheelchair and shit.
Oh yeah, I remember Craig all day. Holy cow, man, it's coming back to me, man.
And
Like, and
then
then
we made a fake rumor about the dude on our team, Jay. We said we didn't go to events because he had those tiny hands from the Burger King commercial. Like he needs a specialized controller, and emoji won't let him use it. So like people literally believed that shit. They're like, "Oh, ain't you the guy with those tiny fucking hands?" And we just crying.
Jesus Christ. Oh, I remember King too. King, that dude. Oh my god, that he was the king of shit talking. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Uh,
fun times.
yeah, I'm just reminiscing, like, cause man, I miss those times. I'm trying to remember all the people. I remember quite a few of them, like Blood Ninja. Yeah, Blood Ninja, FBI Cross. Uh, Blood Ninja was cool. He was a nice guy. And Cops, I don't know if you remember Cops. He used to play
I
with
do. I
me and
remember
Dead
Mark.
Issue a lot. Yeah, Mark. I think that was his name, Mark.
Yeah,
I wonder.
he was a little active on the forums back in the day. I remember him.
Yeah, yeah, that dude was cool. I do remember. Yeah, John, because John was Ranger status, right? That. Yeah,
Yep.
okay, yeah, I do definitely remember him. I thought there was another status guy, like something else. There
Mine
was
was
Ranger
for a
status.
while. I had wizard status for a little while.
Oh, was it status?
I did that to make a. It was yeah. I made phobia and those guys mad with that one. I did it on purpose.
And then there was Fear. I remember Fear. That dude was really good.
Moho, yeah.
Yeah, and then there was those MOB Rage guys. Well, yeah. Okay. I guess I'm done reminiscing. I just was trying to see how many names I could remember from back in the day.
Well, that's we can wrap this one up. That's make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and thanks for watching. We'll probably get Bree and some future ones as well.
All right. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, peace.